stop scrolling. This is huge. And you need to know this right now. 3 of the United States' biggest trading partners, China, Canada, and Mexico, have just joined forces against new U.S. tariffs. And the shockwaves are spreading faster than anyone predicted. Do you feel that?
That's the tremor through global markets, your grocery bills, your jobs, and the supply chains you depend on. This isn't a story that's out there. It's landing in your life. Today, you need clarity, you need context, and you need to understand the stakes before it's too late. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly who's gaining, who's losing, and what this means for the future of global power. And here's where it begins. 3-nation alliance strikes back. Global trade order shaken overnight.
3-nation alliance strikes back. Global trade order shaken overnight. And you need to understand exactly why this moment matters. Because it's not just another headline. This is a global pivot point unfolding in real time. And most people have no idea how big the implications really are.
Last night, after the U.S. unveiled a sweeping new set of tariffs aimed at protecting domestic industries, something unprecedented happened. China, Canada, and Mexico, 3 countries that rarely coordinate at this level, responded not separately, not cautiously, but as a unified economic front. And that should stop you in your tracks. Because when 3 of America's biggest trading partners decide they're stronger together than they are negotiating one, on one, the global trade order isn't just shifting, it's being upended. Here's the truth. The U.S. expected pushback. Tariffs always provoke retaliation. But what no one expected was the speed, the coordination, and the strategic precision with which these countries fired back. You're talking about 3 economies that control critical supply chains, key manufacturing hubs, and massive consumer markets. And they didn't wait. They didn't hedge. They didn't test the waters. They locked arms and hit back, simultaneously, deliberately, and with clear intention to disrupt the U.S. advantage and reshape the balance of power. This is the shockwave economists warned about, but policymakers never believed would actually happen. And here's where keynote number 2 becomes impossible to ignore. U.S. tariffs trigger unified retaliation. Markets brace for impact. Because markets are bracing, investors woke up this morning to one terrifying reality. This isn't posturing. This isn't symbolic. This is escalation. China announced targeted tariffs on advanced industrial components. Canada hit us agricultural exports. Mexico rolled out simultaneous levies on steel, machinery, and processed foods. All at the same time, all in direct response to Washington's move. And when you line those actions up side by side, you see the pattern. These countermeasures weren't random. They were engineered to strike pressure points across the U.S. economy. Let me be crystal clear. This is exactly how global leverage works. When one country goes after another with tariffs, the damage is contained. But when 3 of your largest economic partners coordinate, the pressure multiplies. You're not just dealing with higher prices, you're dealing with destabilized supply chains, delayed manufacturing, reduced export revenue, and volatility across multiple sectors at once. It's like playing chess with one opponent when suddenly 2 more sit down at the board and start moving pieces. If you feel the urgency in what I'm saying, good. You should. Because this is the moment where abstract news becomes a real-world impact on everyday life. Here's what's really happening beneath the headlines. The U.S. tried to use tariffs as a hard reset, a way to force renegotiation and reclaim industrial dominance. But tariffs don't operate in a vacuum. They operate in a global ecosystem, where every nation is protecting its own workers, industries, and political interests. China didn't just retaliate. They used this as an opportunity to strengthen diplomatic ties with Canada and Mexico. Canada didn't just react. They signaled that after years of tension with Washington, they're done being passive. Mexico didn't just respond. They aligned their strategy with Beijing for the first time in modern trade history. That is a massive geopolitical recalibration. And let's talk about markets. When 3 major economies coordinate against the U.S., Investors don't sit there and hope for the best. They pull back. They hedge. They reprice risk. They assume uncertainty. That's why stock futures dropped within hours. That's why commodity markets jolted. That's why analysts are warning that this could drag into a multi-quarter conflict with unpredictable consequences. Because once a trade war becomes multilateral, it's harder to unwind, harder to negotiate, and harder to control. Now, let's zoom out so you can see the full picture. This isn't just about tariffs. This is about power. This is about who sets the rules in the global economy. For decades, the U.S. dictated trade terms because it had the leverage. Its market was massive. Its dollar was dominant. Its alliances were stable. But these three nations just sent a message. You don't get to dictate the rules alone anymore. And that's the part most people won't see at first glance. But you're seeing it now. This moment isn't a trade disagreement. It's a challenge to the entire U.S.-centric economic framework. And here's something most analysts won't say out loud. China's been waiting for an opportunity like this, a chance to weaken its influence without launching the first move. The U.S. handed them that opportunity with these tariffs. Canada and Mexico, frustrated with years of trade tension, were ready to align with whoever could give them leverage. Beijing stepped into that role instantly. So now, instead of Washington negotiating from a position of strength, it's dealing with a three-pronged counterforce that has nothing to lose and everything to gain by coordinating from farms in the Midwest to factories in the South to tech companies on the coasts. The impact is going to hit fast. Higher input prices, slower production.
Contract delays, export losses, and if you're thinking, but isn't this temporary? Don't assume it. Tariffs rarely unwind quickly. Once retaliatory measures lock into place, they become political bargaining chips. That means this isn't just today's news.
This is the beginning of a long, grinding economic tension that could shape the next 5 to 10 years. And here's what you absolutely cannot ignore. When three countries retaliate in sync, the U.S. can't respond with targeted diplomacy. It has to respond on multiple fronts at once. That divides resources, that complicates strategy, that increases the chance of missteps. This is why markets are rattled. This is why businesses are calling emergency meetings. This is why economists are warning that the global trade system is entering a new phase. China, Canada, Mexico form economic wall against Washington as the trade war intensifies. And this is where the situation jumps from serious to critical. Overnight, the three nations executed a coordinated escalation that effectively creates a new barrier around key global supply chains. This isn't symbolic. They're tightening export controls, synchronizing tariffs, and rerouting shipments to limit us leverage. And just as this wall forms, global supply chains enter red alert as trade war escalates, with manufacturers reporting immediate delays, rising component costs, and warnings that production cycles could slow within days.
Transportation hubs are bracing for congestion. Logistics firms are scrambling to reroute cargo, and markets are reacting to the reality that one coordinated move can choke multiple industries at once. This is the moment the trade conflict becomes a full-scale systemic disruption.
Historic break, America's top partners turn into coordinated rivals as Canada and Mexico abandon their long-standing role as buffers and instead join China in a unified front. This marks a turning point the global economy hasn't seen in decades. In the same wave, retaliatory tariffs hit us farmers, automakers, and tech at once, striking at the core of American production. Agricultural exports face new barriers. Auto supply chains are tightening under immediate cost spikes, and tech components are being delayed or diverted entirely. This isn't scattered damage. It's a synchronized economic strike designed to apply pressure across multiple sectors simultaneously. Trade bloc emerges, challenging U.S. economic dominance as China, Canada, and Mexico align strategies, signaling the rise of a coordinated counterweight to American influence. This bloc isn't just retaliating. It's reshaping negotiating power, leveraging supply chains, and redefining market dynamics. At the same time, Shockwave through North America. Allies become adversaries as long-standing partnerships fracture under pressure. Industries face immediate uncertainty. Cross-border commerce slows, and investors are recalibrating risk in real time. The economic landscape is shifting, and what was once predictable trade is now a high-stakes confrontation affecting multiple continents simultaneously. Prices set to spike as cross-border friction intensifies with tariffs and countermeasures creating immediate cost pressures for goods ranging from electronics to agriculture.
Supply chains are strained, shipping delays are mounting, and businesses are forced to absorb or pass on higher expenses to consumers.
Simultaneously, new era of economic conflict begins. Global stability at risk as coordinated actions by China, Canada, and Mexico challenge US dominance, signaling a prolonged period of uncertainty. Markets are jittery, industries are recalculating strategies, and international trade is entering uncharted, high-stakes territory with far-reaching consequences. The message is clear. Global alliances are shifting, trade wars are escalating, and the ripple effects will hit everyone, markets, industries, and your everyday life. But here's the truth. You can stay ahead if you're alert, informed, and ready to act. This is USA World Reports, bringing you the insights that matter before the headlines even hit. If this fired you up, don't wait. Like, comment, and subscribe to join the movement. Share this with others. Stay informed, and stay one step ahead of these global shifts. The world is moving fast. Make sure you're moving faster.